Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Sorry, it's been a very long time since I've uploaded anything. And I've been very unwell, very sick for a really long time. I am back to normal now, and I feel semi-better. Yeah, enough to start uploading again. Just a disclosure is that next week I'll be going away for a really long time on vacation, kind of on an adventure. So my YouTube channel might be on hiatus for another really long period of time, so I apologize in advance. I'll try to work things out if I can, but where I'm going, there's not a lot of time for YouTube channeling, so it might be on another long hiatus, so I am very sorry in advance, and don't think I've neglected the channel. I just wanted to find a day where I was well enough to start recording, so. I still have a little bit of a cough, but it's going away now. But now I think I should start recording. Okay, so this video is just gonna be me talking, and it's not gonna be planned, so here we go. So I'll tell you guys something what happened today. Something that happened to me today. And I'm sure you guys know what it is. I rewatched Fellowship of the Ring today, and I cried. The last time I watched the movies was in December, and then 4 months later. I mean, I was gonna wait till next December to try to watch it to see what happens to me, but I guess I couldn't wait that long, so I waited 4 months, and then I started to try to rewatch them. I started with Fellowship today. And yeah, I cried more than I cared to admit. I pretty much was able to hold it together until the end. The end is really, the end always gets me. And I don't know why, it just kind of does. First and foremost, the scene where Frodo leaves Sam for Mordor alone and says that Sam couldn't help him anymore made me a little teary-eyed, not gonna lie, about that one. And then the scene that really got me was Boromir's death this time. Last time it was the last scene, the very last scene where Sam and Frodo are in the boat. That scene also got me as well, crying a little bit. Or maybe a little bit more than I would care to think. And I think that the way they played the Shire theme in that scene, like the flute, my goodness, the flute really drove it home, and it stabbed my heart. And yeah, I kind of lost it. After Boromir died, I had to literally pause the movie, and I had to sort of reflect out loud. Talking out loud helps me. So I talked aloud about my thoughts on the movie and just kind of what happened and the characters and all that stuff. And like when I was talking about Boromir, I just kind of like, I was like, I need a moment. I cried. And then in the fact that Aragorn and Boromir were kind of like, they were brothers in arms and all that stuff, and they were willing to help each other, and they were trying to help Frodo. And the fact that the very last thing that Boromir tells him is that he would have followed Aragorn anywhere, and like the way it was delivered, man, it got me in the feels kind of hard. And yeah, it's hard pressed to find anyone who doesn't cry at that scene, really. I bet you any Lord of the Rings nerd would tell me that they cried during that scene, and I'd say yes, I did cry too. I actually have a friend who's a fanatic of Lord of the Rings, and he told me that he wasn't just crying. I mean, I'm not an emotional person, disclose, but I think when it comes to Lord of the Rings, like watching the movies every so often, then it just kind of gets me for some reason. I don't know. I guess it's the way it's like written in the acting and just kind of like the music, so it just kind of like has something different about it that I can't really explain away. But yeah. I do have one friend who is a big fan, and he said that when he watched the movies, he said that Boromir's death is what got him, and he was not just like crying, but he was just like, he kind of like lost it completely, and his brothers downstairs were like, what is that unearthly wailing? Is there a banshee in the house? Like, they literally thought there was a banshee in the house just wailing their head off. But it turned out it was the friend, just kind of like, dare I say it, grieving the loss of Boromir along with Aragorn. And they thought it was a banshee in the house. And I just thought that was kind of funny that they would think that, because they wouldn't expect that to happen, you know? And then I felt bad because, like, I don't know, I was just kind of like, I am so sorry they thought that. But I'm also so sad that Boromir had to die, but he died, he died a noble death, and like, and the fact that he redeemed himself in the end and had a last moment with Aragorn really just kind of made me a mess. And then I literally had to pause the movie and talk out loud a little bit, and then I had to cry, and then I had to recompose myself and then get ready for the very last scene. And then when Sam and Frodo are in the boat and they're talking with one another, and I just kind of cried again. And then afterward I sat there crying and reflecting out loud, and I'm like, who's cutting onions in here? What is going on? Who's cutting onions in here? And why movie? This is too good. I didn't ask for this. And I was like, why? Just why? And another scene that made me really sad, or maybe close to crying, was Gandalf's fall off the bridge. It's a very iconic scene, and I kind of almost cried. And then at the end of the movie, after I was done watching it, I sat myself down and I was kind of reflecting out loud, and then I cried. I was like, what is the Fellowship gonna do without Gandalf? And I was like, now they have Aragorn, but how is he gonna lead them? And I was like, they're doomed, oh no. And they're breaking, and what is, everything's going so wrong. I wish Gandalf were here. And even though I like kind of know the story, I was just kind of like, but why? Like, as if I was feeling the Fellowship's feelings. Another scene that made me really sad and want to cry was when Gimli found out about his cousin Balin. I was really sad because, and I'm going to take a reread of The Hobbit after I finish the movies, but just remembering Balin's role in The Hobbit as Bilbo's sort of like mentor friend, you know, and as one of Thorin's company, was so heartbreaking because, oh, I'm rubbing my eyes just thinking about it. It was so heartbreaking because the fact that he was also one of Bilbo's friends was really sad when he died. And when Gimli didn't find out, and like, he was assuming that Balin would give him a warm welcome, but then he found out about his death. Like, I felt almost as grieved as Gimli. Maybe not crying my eyes out the way he was, but I was literally shaking my head, going, no, it can't be, and like, kind of like going, like, willing myself not to believe it. Because, okay, one of the stages of grief, there are 4 stages, so just a quick aside. The 4 stages are shock, denial, sadness, and acceptance, according to what I've learned. And so shock is like the initial finding out about the news, like, you're kind of, like, disbelieving, like, what? Really? Is this true? And then denial's like, no, this is not true. This can't be true. And then sadness is basically like, oh no, I miss this person so bad, I'm crying. And then acceptance is basically accepting that the person is gone and like missing them, but kind of going on with your life and kind of like having their memory in your heart kind of thing, and just kind of like not really, like not having it affect you to the point where you go mad, kind of like how Denethor, there we go, went mad with grief after losing Boromir. Like, acceptance is where you don't go mad with it, but you kind of accept that it is what it is, and you still miss the person from time to you still miss the person from time to time, but you don't like, it doesn't consume you as much as it used to. That kind of, it's kind of like, it is what it is, you kind of move on. But yeah, that was just a quick aside. I was in the denial stage. The shock, I was shocked that Gimli was shocked. Like, I was shocked that Gimli didn't know until Gandalf told him. I think that made the scene even more heartbreaking. I think I was in the denial stage where I was shaking my head and yelling out no. Not yelling, but saying no out loud. Like, this can't be true. Please don't tell me it's Balin. No, no, no. I didn't ask for this. And I was like, but Balin was such a good friend. He was such a good dwarf. He and Bilbo got along really well. And I was like, and why does he have to die? Why Balin of all dwarves? And then I was like sad too afterward. Just kind of like, why? Now he's gone. I don't know if I've accepted it or if I was completely shocked, but definitely the denial and the sad stage definitely came in and started grabbing me by the heartstrings a little bit. That scene made me want to cry. Gandalf's fall off the bridge made me want to cry. Frodo telling Sam that he's going to Mordor alone made me kind of teary-eyed a little bit and want to cry. I did cry a little bit, actually. Boromir's death made me cry. And then on this rewatch, Frodo and Sam, their scene on the boat together made me cry as well. And the Shire theme, when the Shire theme played and the flute, it was playing and that the little flute was playing it, tugged on my heartstrings, and I started crying again. And I was like, I just got over Boromir. Now I have to get over Sam and Frodo and the boat and the breaking of the Fellowship. Are you kidding me, movie? Why? And like afterward, I just kind of like sat there crying. And then I went to my mom and I told her, I said, I started watching The Two Towers again, and I was 14 minutes and 3 seconds in when I paused the movie, and then my mom came in to see how I was doing. She found me watching The Two Towers. She's like, what are you watching? I said, I'm watching The Two Towers. And she's like, what's that? And I said, look. And I turned the phone toward her and I made her look, and she's like, oh yeah, Lord of the Rings The Two Towers. And then I paused the video, and then I told her that I watched Fellowship and cried. And she's like, oh, you're so cute, Hope. And I was like, that's not the response I was looking for, but thanks. But then I told her what scenes exactly made me cry, and she's like, oh yeah, that's right, those were so sad. And she like understood, because she too has watched the movies with my dad. I was gone somewhere and I didn't witness it, but my mom and dad watched the movies together. And when I brought up the scenes that got me, she's like, oh yeah, they made me cry too. So she understood. And then I told her that Sam was just such a good person. And she's like, oh, I love Sam. He's just too good of a person. And he's like, and I was like, yeah, he is. And then something a bit more funny happened. I was with my sister a few minutes ago, and I told her that she would be great friends with Aragorn. And she's like, well, Aragorn and I have nothing in common. And I said, well, yeah, your personalities kind of do a little bit. I think you guys might get along. You guys are very nice people, and I think you guys would have fun together as friends. And my sister's like, I don't think so. And then my mother was getting ready for a work meeting, and then she turned to me. She's like, who's Aragorn? And then I was like, Mom, do you not remember? I thought you said you watched the movies. He's the king of Gondor and the heir of Isildur. And I slapped my hand on the chair. I was sitting in a chair and I slapped my hand on it. I was like, he's the king of Gondor and the heir of Isildur. And I was like, do you not remember? And I was kind of like shocked that she would be like, who is Aragorn? And I'm like, and then I had literally had to like tell her who he was for her. And my mom's like, oh yeah. And I just kind of laughed, and I was like, how do you not remember who he is? And she's like, it's been a while since I watched the movies. I'm like, oh, that's right. Oops. And then she went into her work meeting, and then I was like, how on earth would she ask me who Aragorn is? I thought she knew who he was. And then I started laughing because I thought it was really funny. I was kind of like, okay, if you don't know who Aragorn is, you need to like watch the movies again and pay attention to who he is, because he's like the best character ever, and like he just has such a sweet personality, and his voice has a strong regal sound, but it's also gentle and sensitive, and it sounds very kingly, and I love his voice so much. I could hear it all day long. And then I said, but I like it when Gandalf is funny. And then my mom's like, oh yeah, I think you're funny. And I was like, well, Gandalf and I are both funny. And we just had a good laugh about it. To tell you the truth, YouTubers, Gandalf he is a funny person. Like, he's very layered. In the movie Shrek says, ogres are like onions and they have layers. And I think this is gonna sound very weird, but I think Gandalf is like an onion, and he has layers and layers of personalities, layer upon layer upon layer of personality. And he's never boring. He's really like, he's such a sweet, gentle, mischievous, jolly, happy old man with bouts of wisdom, and like he kind of has this comforting presence and like a calm voice, but then he also has bouts of grumpiness, and he kind of, when he gets testy with someone, he says the most funny things ever. At the Gate of Moria, Pippin asks a question. He asks Gandalf if oh, darn it, I just watched the movie. I can't even remember the question right now. But Pippin asks him a question, or says something to him. And it's like, I'll knock your head against these doors, Peregrine Took, and we will be rid of your foolish questions, or something like that. Or something of getting rid of his foolish questions. And I started laughing because I thought Gandalf was being funny. And he kind of was. I just think that sometimes when he gets that way, he says like some things that I can't help but laugh about, because I think he gets funny when he's testy sometimes. I don't know, especially with Pippin. I honestly can't understand why Gandalf has to treat Pippin so harshly, and I kind of don't like it because, I don't know, I don't think Pippin likes it very much, or maybe he doesn't understand that Pippin has ADHD and can't help it, or is is still young, maybe Pippin doesn't understand that this is a serious adventure, not fun and games, or maybe Pippin doesn't understand why Gandalf is so grumpy. I don't know. But I do think that I just found that funny in the movie. I found Gimli hilarious, just kind of the way he reacts to things, like, yeah, let's kill some orcs, or he says some of the funniest things ever, and I just laughed out loud because I thought it was funny. Legolas doesn't say much, but he's definitely one of those people who, or well, elf people, there we go, who seems like he'd be a pleasant person to be around. Like quiet, introverted, but very nice. I laughed throughout most of the movie, got scared throughout parts of it. And like when Frodo was being, like when they were running from the ring wraiths and they're, was it Sam's telling everyone to run? Or was, and I was like, come on, run, Frodo, run, R-U-U-U-U-N, run. And like, even though I know he makes it, I was literally telling him and the whole fellowship to just run for it. And I was like, run, they're coming to get you. Oh no, oh no. There were parts that really made me scared. Even though I know the outcome and I've seen the movies, I just got scared. I was like, no. And I think it's because the movies are so well done that no matter how many times you watch it, you still feel the emotions as if you are watching it for the first time or going on the journey with the fellowship. I loved the party scene in the beginning of the movie, and it just made me so happy. It made me want to be in Hobbiton with Bilbo, just hanging out with him and chatting with him. I like his voice. Like, it's got that soft English, British sort of voice. Like, it's got that English accent, but it's soft and gentle, but very bright and high. Very much the way I envision Bilbo's voice. And it's very, like, I don't know, it's, like, cheerful and filled with energy. And I love it when he laughs, too. When he laughs, it's, like, it's got this very, like, I don't know, it has a very bouncy sort of sound when he laughs. And the way he, like, skips around and is just super loud and rowdy. I was like, yes, I'd be friends with Bilbo. Also, I think the name Bilbo is really cute, and I like it. I think that he's got the right name. Yeah. And I'm going to rewatch The Two Towers and Return of the King, and I'm going to tell you what happens to my emotional state throughout. And yeah, I felt heartwarmed, scared, sad, and emotional all at once, kind of throughout the movie experience, the way the fellowship feels on their journey. And that's kind of what happened to me today. I just wanted to share that to YouTube, and I hope you guys can relate, you know what I mean? Also, Gandalf I still think he's the best wizard to ever come from fiction. Ever. He's too good. He is way too good of a person.
Take picture. Button. Face near bottom.
Oops.
23 minutes. Stop recording speech off.
I just want to make sure I'm still recording. He's too good of a person to be treated badly by Saruman. But I like to say Saruman. So that Saruman and Sauron have different names, not Saruman and Sauron. To me, it's Saruman and Sauron. Saruman. But I think that you're not supposed to be taking Gandalf lightly, that's for sure. You're supposed to be, take his advice, and you don't mess with him, but yet he messes up. That's what I love about him. And I just think he's such a guy in a good way. His voice filled with an old wisdom that he's acquired throughout his life in Middle Earth, as Bilbo would say, with that accent on the R. It's not Middle Earth to Bilbo, it's Middle Earth. The third age of this world. That's how he'd say it. Anyways, that's kind of what I think. And I think that Frodo and Sam should remain best friends for the rest of their lives, and they should never, ever, 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 ever stop. Ever. Bilbo and Gandalf can remain best buddies, BFFs, best pals. You know, best friends forever, BFFs, best buddies, whatever you want to call them, brothers, bros. And Sam and Frodo can be bros too. They'd be, hey bro, what's up? Let's go get a drink at the Prancing Pony. Oh, let's go to the library and get a book. Let's go get a copy of Percy Jackson, and we'll read. Just kidding, but that's kind of something that they would do. Honestly, I think that they would read Percy Jackson, and I think they would have a fun time with it. Especially Frodo. I think that he would find Percy extremely funny, and I think that Sam would probably find Grover extremely amusing, since he's a lot like Sam, you know? Percy's a lot like Frodo, and I think Annabeth is a lot like Eowyn. She kind of reminds me of her a little bit, and I think Chiron is a little bit like Gandalf, a little bit. I think the wisdom and the age part kind of fits him a little bit. He's kind of like Dumbledore too. Dumbledore's like Gandalf, because he kind of has that very similar appearance and age, and definitely is also a wizard. And he definitely, Dumbledore also has, well, obviously wizards have magic. You can't be a wizard without magic, at least in fantasy. And he and Gandalf they're not identical, but they are remarkably similar, but different at the same time. Different enough to be their own person. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. I just think Frodo, if he and Sam were to read Percy Jackson and then Harry Potter afterward, I think he and Sam would absolutely go nuts over it. I think Frodo likes the good versus evil type of story, that epic sort of magical adventure. That's kind of what his type. And I think that he would absolutely love it. I'm completely getting ahead of myself here, and I just going on a tangent about books and what they would like. He and Sam would read in the library, but that's kind of what I think. I mean, Bilbo and Gandalf, I feel like have the friendship. It's like that's equivalent to Frodo and Sam. I mean, Bilbo and Gandalf are kind of like each other's Frodo and Sam, and vice versa, kind of, you know? And I think that if in an alternate world, if Bilbo was the one to destroy the ring instead of Frodo, like a much, much, much younger Bilbo, then I think Gandalf would be kind of like the Sam to Bilbo, who would be like who would be the ring bearer, obviously. And I think Gandalf would play the part of Sam, and I think that he would do it in his own way, have his own strengths and kind of use them, kind of the way Sam does to Frodo. And I think that it's beautiful. I think it's very beautiful that two very beautiful, kind friendships formed from four of the best Tolkienian characters ever. Four of the best of them, all BFFing it up and having fun. Best friend forevering it up, having fun, doing things together, laughing together, crying together, watching, I don't know, reading books together, singing together, dancing together, probably watching movies together, driving cars together. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but that's kind of what they would do if they lived in the modern world. But definitely more plausibly riding carriages together with no windows, oh, I'm running out of ideas. Oh, wow. Riding carriages together, or just talking together and smoking pipeweed together. Sam, Frodo, Gandalf, and Bilbo. 3 hobbits and a wizard. A very old wizard. 3 hobbits and a wizard, and I think that all of them being best friends at the same time. I think Tolkien did something very beautiful with the friendship between the 3 hobbits and the wizard. All of them. Or if they were all destroying the ring together, Sam, Frodo, Gandalf, and Bilbo, I think that they would all just have camaraderie, and they would do as I said. They would talk together, sing together, tell stories together, laugh and cry together. They would probably read together without setting fires, or else the Nazgul will find them. they would just teamwork it out together. That's what I think. And I'm so glad Tolkien has two beautiful friendships between the most magical creatures ever, the most magical people, and I'm so proud of Mr. Tolkien for doing that. I can't get enough of the movies, or the actors who play the characters do the most remarkable job ever. It's so believable. You only see the characters and hear their voices, and you don't even see the actors. It's just a masterpiece. Everyone has always hyped it up, and I watched it several times, and I know it's a masterpiece, and I disagree not one little bit. I do not disagree at all. I actually agree with everybody that it is a masterpiece, and I see why the story of Lord of the Rings is so extremely stinking good, and I'm a huge fan of the story. I'm completely a nerd, definitely know some of the lore stuff. I can make a whole video about it if I choose, and I'm just kind of a fan, and I won't stop talking about it, and it kind of runs in the family. The story kind of does. So I'm kind of a buff, and yet I have tried to read the books, and I kind of wasn't able to do it. I think the writing style sort of turned me off, but I'm still a huge fan of the story no matter what. Even if I can't read the books, I'm still a huge fan of the movies and the lore, and that counts for something. And I think Gandalf would probably think and say that it counts for something. That's what I say. Now I have his deep, raspy voice stuck in my head. And he definitely sounds like a grandfather figure. I could make like a whole video of where I think Gandalf came back and how I think it would differ from how Tolkien wanted him to come from, wanted his background to be. Yeah, but that's another topic. Anyways, I do hope that you enjoyed this YouTube video, and I will try to upload before I go on a long vacation, because when I'm gone, I don't know if I'll be able to upload as often, because I'll be very busy, and I might go on a very long hiatus again. So I'm very, very sorry if I kind of stop, because I'm very busy. And so don't think I've neglected the channel, or that I forgot all about it, or that I don't like it anymore, I don't care about it anymore. It's just that I'll be very busy, and that I was very sick and trying to get better, and that I am back. I promise I'll be back, and I'll probably upload more often now since I'm done with high school and I don't have to worry about school anymore. So I'm done. So I can probably start uploading earlier and earlier if I choose. So yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and my ramblings on how I felt about Lord of the Rings today. The fact that I watched Fellowship and cried. I bet any nerd would tell you this. Anyways, I will see you in another video. Alrighty, see you later. Bye.